Hello, ladies and gentlemen. James Duggan here with Victor Magnuson of Fatshark Games. We are playing Warhammer End Times Vermintide, and specifically the Last Stand update, which was released as a free add-on about a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
So what I think the name is probably pretty indicative of what we'll be seeing in the game, but can you kind of explain what Last Stand is?
It's basically our version of a horde mode. So it's a wave-based infinite number of waves, basically. So you can, it's like the final test for the game. So if you sort of feel that you have gotten all of the really cool weapons and you really want to test how good you are at the game, you can go into Last Stand and see how far you can go.
So this is kind of the first iteration on your take of endgame content. And this game, unlike some like it, unlike Left 4 Dead, has a item progression system with the character that you choose to play.
Exactly.
And at the beginning of the game, it was relatively minor, but I saw you had some orange and purple-colored items, which always means something fun. So why don't you show off, while we're waiting here in the lobby, why don't you show off some of your weapons and just show how they change your kit?
So these characters are pretty decked out with some good stuff. I've actually cheated, so sorry about that. So here I got a bunch of the really good ones. Since we're going to be playing Last Stand, I'll be using lots of the really cooperative trinkets. So this one is really good for Last Stand because it bleeds out any healing you do. It bleeds out
20%
to the rest of the
it.
team. Yeah,
nice.
So that's really good, and also this one is pretty good. So it has a chance to not consume your healing item every time you use it, like 20% chance. And that's also, since it's a game of attrition, it's really good to have anything that can keep you going for a really long time.
Sure. All right, why don't we jump into game?
Sure.
Let's kill some Skaven.
Yeah.
I think that's the perfect enemy for a horde mode, is tons and tons of rats.
Definitely, yeah.
If you've ever seen footage of New York at night, when somebody turns over a dumpster, that's what we're in for here.
So this is Schloss, or the Fall as we call it.
I'm really happy you pronounced that.
Yeah, that's the reason why we have a dual name for it. The place is actually called Schloss, but we decided that it was a little bit tough on the to say, so we have the map is actually called the Fall, so it can be.
And this is unique. So this is one of 3 maps in the Last Stand. This one actually costs a very modest, small fee.
Yeah.
And basically, if you own it, you can play with all of your friends, invite them over. But everything else is free. So you have the actual Last Stand map, and then also Town Meeting, which is free. Yeah. So it's a very that's what's the word I'm looking for here? You are a paragon of the DLC realm because you've charged for almost nothing here and given the experience to the maximum amount of people.
Exactly. Yeah, we really want to be. We need to. We're a company, we're a business, so we need to make some money. So we need to sell something. But we want to be as customer friendly as we possibly can with it. So this is our way of saying, if you want to give us some money for the stuff we do, here's your chance. But we also if you don't feel like you want to, just get one of your friends to do it, and you can play.
Right,
with them.
right. Yeah. So is there a setup phase in this before the wave gets going?
So right now you can just hang out and do whatever you want. There's no enemies will spawn until I go down here and blow the horn.
Let's sound the horn of Gondor and get this thing going. Gimli. The Warhammer universe is one that is really doing a great job licensing out its universe.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic because it's been long running one of my favorite fantasy universes. And especially in a game setting. So I think you guys did a fantastic job, especially picking the enemy in terms of the thematics, because it was I assume it would have been a very easy translation to do greenskins or something like that. But Skaven are really the appropriate enemy for this in terms of huge wave-based numbers. And wow, look at you doing some real damage there.
So the first couple of waves here are an introductory waves.
Sure.
So they're pretty easy. It's just a bunch of slaves that come at you. It's just to show from which directions they're going to come.
Are there any boss waves or waves that spawn with massive enemies?
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. We have dual rat ogres that will spawn. I think we even have 3 rat ogres at a time that can spawn if you get really far enough.
And how has your audience, your core player group, reacted to the play type of kind of being a little bit more stagnant, being a little bit more defensive, and being less campaigning through this large map?
I think they feel it's a really nice change of pace. It's it's a different thing. You can just go in and just see how really test your metal against the infinite amounts of enemies that are going to just come at you at any time.
Sure.
And I think it's a nice little break you can do.
Yeah. I found that sometimes running around maps and having to worry about objectives and things like that, sometimes you just want to mindlessly kill a ton of rats.
Exactly.
And this is absolutely that kind of
This will let you do that in spades.
So what are, I remember the Bright Wizard can kind of overheat and kill herself.
Exactly, yeah.
Have you considered adding any additional mechanics through weapons, through trinkets? And also what are we looking at in terms of like post-launch loot? Does this DLC come with additional loot possibilities, or are we potentially maybe going to see more in terms of progression for those of us who've kind of hit the cap?
There's no new loot in this update, but we will have some new weapon types coming in updates coming. I don't know exactly the date yet because we're not really done with them yet, but we have some stuff in the pipe. And we also have some new ways of getting loot that we are working on. So we'll have something in like sort of like a daily quest system or something similar, which will let you pick up quests and turn them into loot. So that's another source of getting some good stuff.
That's great. And you have a bunch of different difficulties here. You have Veteran, Champion, and Heroic.
Yeah, we decided to have different names for the difficulty settings, since we are doing a little bit of tuning for the difficulty for this game mode. So it's basically Veteran is hard on in adventure mode, but it's a little bit different. So we decided to change the name just for not confuse people.
Nice. One of my favorite things that I was talking to Liam about, and the Bright Wizard seemed very good, and I was like, is the Bright Wizard a little bit OP? And he was like, yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's designed that way because she's a Bright Wizard.
Yeah, exactly.
And I really like that because it's cooperative here. So like the balancing, you really just need to worry about everybody playing as a team and then balance that, as opposed to being like, well, this guy's comparable DPS and lacking a little bit of tank or something like that. Yeah. I am a huge fan of asymmetric balance design when it feels good, and I think this is one of those scenarios in which it feels good.
Yeah, balance-wise, like the only thing we really worry about that there is like one ultimate tactic. Like there's one weapon for each character that you absolutely have to have, because we feel that is a little bit boring. But if one of the characters is a little bit better than another, that doesn't really matter so much.
Do you see your audience as a group of people who, and maybe this is a little bit of column A and column B here, but a group of people that kind of commit to a single character, because you can't have two dwarves or two Bright Wizards on the same team? Or do you see them, the overall progression in this game, more as you kind of beating the game in terms of loot means you've accrued loot and a solid build for all of the characters?
Well, we designed the game to allow you to change characters at will, so we really wanted to make sure that you didn't get locked into one character, but we've found that a lot of people actually do, because they like, I'm just like a dwarf guy, so I want to play with a dwarf, so or a wood elf, like a fan or something like that. So a lot of people do that, but there's no barriers in the game. There's nothing stopping you from changing our characters. It's just basically the loot you have for the character. That's the only thing that determines their power. So there's no leveling up. So if you've played a bunch of with the dwarf, you've probably gotten some good weapons for the wood elf as well. So you can just switch at any time.
Sure. Yeah, and also it's a different playstyle, which keeps the replayability higher than if it was just a single character.
Exactly.
So you just picked up one of those badges. Can you explain one more time what those do?
Yeah, so it's called the Endurance Badge, and you get like higher values the longer you play, and you at the end of the match you will trade them in for experience and a bunch of crafting tokens. So. You don't get any loot per se for playing this, but instead you get tokens, and then you can go to the Shrine of Solace and decide for yourself what you want to get.
Sure, so you're still getting some progression and reward from
exactly,
yeah. So we're starting to see the enemies get a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Talk me through from the ground up, and this is going to be a hell of a task while you're also fighting off all these rats. So kudos to you. I'm just sitting here. I have a drink next to me. It's great. But talk me through the enemies from the weakest of the weak, those ones we saw at the beginning, to like the most badass of the badass.
Yeah, so we start out with the Skaven slaves. They're the super weak enemy. They're like their only strength is their insane numbers. And now we're also starting to see some of the clan rats here, and they're basically pretty similar. Like in behavior, they're pretty similar, but the clan rats are a little bit tougher, and they do a little bit more damage, and they take some more hits. And then we're going to start seeing some specials appearing now pretty soon, probably right about now, I guess.
Appropriate.
Anytime now. And there we have what is it? It's hard to think and play at the same time. I think it's 4 different ones. The Rattling Gunner, the Poison Wing Glove of the Year, the Gutter Runner, and the Packmaster.
Yep.
And then also, like in more of the core enemies, we're gonna start seeing Stormvermin coming. And in this game mode, the Stormvermin are really the guys you need to watch out for, because they're not so bad if you're like if you get them one-on-one, but if you also have like a bunch of slaves or a bunch of clan rats, and one of these guys comes, one of the Stormvermins comes up from behind and starts hitting you, you're gonna die really fast. So those are really one of the enemies you need to really watch out for. So like get them out of the way as fast as you can.
So your team's looking like they're on dire straits here in terms of their health situation. How are you replenishing that health? I know in the story missions you have like these healing droughts and things like that. Do those drop off of enemies here, or are they in rooms? Or
no, they actually there's 2 ways of getting new items in the game, or in this game mode. There's something called a small supply drop. They come every second or third wave, and that can be like some healing or some potion or some new ammo or something like that. And then we also have these resupply caches that open up. So one of them has already opened up. It opens up on level 3, and then the next one is on wave 7, and then there's one on wave 14 and 20 or something like that. I'm not exactly sure of the exact numbers. And there you get like a good amount of like bombs and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So you really need to be careful. Like, don't spend your healing kits and stuff until you really need it. And also, this is where like the trinkets with healing and like trinkets that lets you team healing really comes into play. So you want to like wait for the perfect moment before you use your healing stuff. And make sure that, like, if you have, so here we go. There, specials are starting to come as well.
Oh, murder!
So the Rattling Gunner over there.
Oh wow!
But I have the.
Doing pretty well for playing with bots here. Wave 4 completed. What is the highest wave that you've seen your player base complete?
I'm actually not sure. The thing is that I was sick for 2 weeks before going to GDC, so I was completely out of it. So I don't know actually. We had like during beta, we thought we had tweaked it really, really hard.
Sure.
But some of our best players, they got to like wave 100, so we went into full panic mode and just let's tune this up a bit. And so after that, I'm not really sure actually.
Victor, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody at home, check it out on Steam. Warhammer End Times Vermintide. Last Stand update is totally free. There's one map you need to pay, like, what is it, $3 for, $5, something like that. But only one of your 4 friends, so pick the richest one, and he needs to buy it. It's on Steam. Thank you so much, and for all things Warhammer, keep it right here on IGN.